We've had this biogas system since 2019, so it's been here for quite a few years now, but in this year we've started having this issue. You can kind of see with the gas bag, it's slumping in the middle, and that means it's not holding gas, at least not to the volumes that it should be holding gas. And that means that we're not getting enough gas up to the burner. So I really do need to tackle this. It's a job I've been putting off for a while now, but today is the day and we're going to get it fixed. The other thing I'll do today as well is just share a little bit about this system that we're using, just in case you haven't seen it in any of our videos before. G'day there, it's Rachel here from Bush Edge Homesteading Australia, and today, as I mentioned, we're going to be tackling a bit of a job to deal with the slumping middle on the gas bag on our HomeBiogas system that is behind me here. Now, I have shared a few videos on the biogas because I think I've mentioned before that we're not on gas here where we are in the Dandenong Ranges, so in order to get some gas to the property quite a few years ago, we started using the biogas setup. It's a good one because it doesn't need to be plumbed in or anything like that. It's literally like a bit of a plug and play type setup. We were really lucky when we got it. It was in a Kickstarter, so it was a lot cheaper than I see them for now, but you can still get them, and in fact they've got a lot bigger ones now as well. So this one here, it's supposed to give about 2 hours of gas when it's fully inflated. I don't think it actually does. It's probably more about an hour and a half, particularly like when you've got your burner turned up quite a lot. It does seem to draw down the gas quite quickly, but for a lot of the projects that we need to do, it's great for providing a bit of a gas supply. I find it super useful for when we're doing canning projects and things like that, and it allows us to use a burner outside in our little outdoor kitchen. Works really simply. You can kind of see there's a kind of a little inlet kind of funnel area. In fact, I'll bring you over and show you. That's this one here, and it's got a bit of a plunger in there as well. Kind of probably looks a bit mucky in there because that's where you put your organics. So we just have like a little container that we keep in the kitchen, and the organic waste that we have, particularly anything that's got like a little bit of meatiness to it, or if there's like something that's saucy, things that can't go in the compost or the worm farm, that sort of stuff, that can go in there. And basically it turns those organics into gas, and that gas is what we use up at the biogas burner. Now, unfortunately, over this kind of summer, we found that the bag was slumping quite a lot. In fact, I'll spin you around. So you can see here how it's basically kind of slumped in the middle, and that's because of the way that this works. The top part is a collection bag, and that's where all the gas sits, and there's no kind of like pumped pressure or anything like that with this. It is all kind of passive. So the way that the pressure works is it has these little sandbags, and the sandbags basically just press down on the gas bag, and that's what pushes the gas off towards the burner. But what has happened over the many years we've been using this is that those sandbags have kind of slumped in towards the middle. All the weight's now in the middle, and it's got really, really bad lately, to the point that it just can't inflate fully anymore. So what I need to do is pull out all of those little sandbags, redistribute the weight again, and then hopefully we can get it inflating in full once again. I've never had to do this before, so it is going to be a bit of a new project. I'm not sure if I need to fully deflate the bag before doing this or not. You know, if one way is going to be easier or not. I am thinking it might be a bit easier though if I can get a bit of this last gas out. As you can see, there is still pressure in there. It'll probably make it a bit less of a stinky job as well as I'm moving this around, just so that it doesn't vent anything if there is no pressure in there. Yeah, so I might actually depressurize that by using some of the last of the gas. I don't want to waste that as well. I do have some eggs I need to boil up, so I might take you up to the burner. We will boil some eggs to get rid of this gas, and yeah, then we'll start tackling the job. There's our eggs that I'm going to take outside, but I thought while I was here in the kitchen, I'd also just show you the setup that we have where we collect the waste that we then take down to the biogas. So we do kind of separate between biogas, worms and compost. We just got little containers for each of those on the bench. All right, let's take these outside and get those on the biogas burner so that we can draw down that gas. Okay, so this here is the biogas burner that we have at our outside kitchen. What I often like to do is light it before putting something on. I don't always do this, but I do find it tends to light better when there's not something sitting on top of it already. And we'll just pop our pot on. I also use this. This is just like a barbecue shroud. And I find because this is used in an outdoor kind of kitchen setting, this here prevents the wind from blowing out the burners. Not required, but yeah, it's definitely a bit of a tip if you do have one of these. Cool, I'm just going to leave that for a while and we'll just let that come up to the boil and let the eggs cook, and hopefully by then we've used up all the gas. Because today I'm wanting to squeeze out as much of that gas as possible, what I've done is I've actually just popped a bag of potting mix and one of kind of seed cutting mix on each of the sides of the bag where the most gas is kind of collecting and it's not pushing down properly at the moment because of the movement of those sandbags. So with this setup, you can see there's a sandbag here. Let me zoom you out a bit. So just here. And then there's sandbags that kind of go all along the side and top here. But because they've all kind of slumped down, there's nothing really pushing this area or this area down, which is why we're getting it peaking in those spots. So I'm hoping by popping these bags here, it'll help push it down a little bit more. I'm also hoping it increases the pressure up the top a little bit, because with these bags not being in the right spots, the pressure has been a bit lower up there as well. Yeah, and hopefully that means we can get all the gas out, or at least most of it, so we can crack on with getting this job done. Well, they got a little bit of the gas out, but there's still quite a bit in here, but I'm just going to get straight into it. First, obviously I need to just remove the bags, and then what I'm going to need to do is just remove the ties on the sides of these so that I can actually get into where the bags are just in here. Actually, I'll bring you in a little bit closer and I'll show you the other one. That's these ones here. They kind of overlap just so that water and stuff doesn't get into where the bags are. It's fun with one hand. There we go. Looks like we're going to find a few spiders in there. Maybe I should be wearing gloves for this. Yeah. Oh, they have actually slipped right down in there. There we go. So that's what the bags look like. And what's really positive is it doesn't look like they've actually broken or anything like that, which is great considering how old these are. So I'm just going to keep pulling them out, just pop them down here. And once I've done that, I will pop them back in. So I do want to have all of them out before I start kind of redistributing anything. Ooh. All right, maybe some are broken. Just thought I'd bring you over here just to show you how these have kind of been bunching down in the bottom. And this is why we're getting the issues that we're having. So see if I can point you in there. When we pop these in, they were kind of flat, but kind of all bunched together, and they've kind of been sitting more like this, squat in the bottom. So that is why they aren't distributed properly anymore. And that's what we're going to fix when we pop them back in. Yeah, I've basically just annoyed a huge amount of spiders. But this is the last section, and then I've got them all out. This has been very hot work because the sun's well and truly out now, but one of the things that's actually making it a little bit of a harder job is the fact that, let me spin you back around, the plastic on this, it actually feels a little bit firmer than it was when we worked with it way back when we actually put all the bags in there. And I think that's just a bit of a factor of time, but it does mean that it doesn't bend as readily to be able to pull things out of it. And this one, that there, is finally the last one. All right, what I've done is I have actually made a few different piles of the bags around the place, and that's just to make it easier when I do go to fill this back up, so they're not having to go to one point and then bring them back around again, because I know I'm going to need them over in those spots anyway. Now, there were a few broken bags in here, but not an awful lot. They have held up quite well for most of them, to be honest, which is probably, yeah, surprising considering they are just kind of plastic bags, and this here does sit out in the full sun. Obviously it's underneath the black geotextile, but yeah, I was expecting more breakage, so pretty happy with that. Now, in terms of getting all these bags back in, I'm not going to do that right now, because what I'm going to do is let this bag inflate fully back up again, get its shape back to it, and then I'm going to start putting the bags back in. So that is going to be done on another day, which is good, because I'll tell you what, I'm definitely working up a sweat after that. It is a hot day today here. Just going to give it a bit of a feed, and that way the gas will start topping up again a bit quicker. Ooh, looks yummy, doesn't it? Tell you what, smells equally yummy. If we keep feeding this up, the bag will get nice and full, nice and quick, and then we can get all of these bags back in, which I have now moved over to the side, so that as the dog's running back and forth, he doesn't actually bust up any of these bags. As I will say, Coops, when he is running, he doesn't see anything. He's just on a mission. I've just got home this evening, and check out down there. That is what the bag is supposed to look like when it's fully inflated, and that's taken no time at all. It was in the high 30s today, so yeah, the biogas absolutely loves the heat. Wow, that is a huge transformation. I haven't seen it like that for a while. I am actually going to head down, just have a little bit of a closer look, because honestly it's been a really long time since I have seen the bag fully inflated like this, and that is now making me think that it really hasn't been filling up fully for probably the last couple of years now. Like, obviously that slumping that we saw in the middle, that was really slumped, and that's a huge difference with the volume of gas between what you guys saw when we started this exercise and what it is now. Now, I'm not going to be putting all those sandbags in just now this evening. It is actually still really hot, and that's going to be a project for the weekend. So we'll catch up together then. It's a lot cooler this evening, thank goodness, compared to the weekend when I pulled out all of those bags. And today is the day that I am going to pop all these bags back into the gas bag, and that's because I do want to use the biogas over the weekend. Having gas and that outside burner working is pretty important, particularly considering my indoor oven has decided to have an issue now where one of the elements on the big burner is not working. So it just means I really do need to get this job done. Now, I did jump online and there was some guidance on there. I'll pop a picture of it here on the screen of the configuration of the little bags and how many bags need to go back into each one of these cells. The reason I wanted to check that out is because when I pulled them out, I don't think I actually had all the bags correctly in the original places. When I very first set it up, they were in the right spots, but because things had kind of shifted over the years, what had kind of happened is I'd moved a few about and I didn't have the same number of bags in each area. So I do want to correct that today. So for example, spots like this, it says there should be 2 bags in each side. I think I actually had 3. And to be honest, that was because things had started kind of slumping and there wasn't enough at the top to kind of push it down. So that's why I'd kind of put a little bit more in some of the spots like that just to kind of counteract that. But yeah, I think this task that we've done here is what I actually needed to do. So I'm going to get stuck in and get all of those bags back into the biogas. Yeah, definitely looking forward to having this back together again so that I can use the gas again and use the burner up there again, but also finally get a decent amount of gas once again, using this thing to its maximum potential and also getting that pressure back as well. Just thought I'd bring you in a little bit to show you what is happening since I've started filling this up. In fact, you can probably see it has slumped down a little bit. It's definitely not sitting as proud. I'm still filling this side, which is why that side's still a little bit higher than this side. But also because I'm doing this while it's full, we are actually getting from that additional pressure that I'm putting in a bit of the liquid coming out. And also the gas. It stinks at the moment. So yeah, just do keep that in mind if this is a job that you think of doing with a gas bag full, like we have, or like I have. Yeah, it smells. So every so often I'm just going away, having some good breaths far away from this thing because I don't really want to be breathing in all this gas. Yeah, and I'm probably holding my breath a little bit as I'm doing it on this side over here where it's kind of close to where it exhausts. So yeah, I did just want to mention that. The last bags are all in. What's actually really interesting though is somewhere along the line I've lost a bag. Yeah, I seem to be short one for this spot here. So what I might do is just keep a bit of an eye on it and just make sure that when it does start working again that it does actually go down consistently. Yeah, no idea where that one went. That is still bubbling away. As you can see, quite a bit of liquid has come out as I've been doing this exercise. That was pretty much empty when I started. So yeah, all I got to do now is just fold all of these back over. You can see they've got ties. It just goes through the little holes and then the job's done. Job done. So that's the biogas all back together. As you can see, there is a little bit of a slump in the middle. I will keep a bit of an eye on that bag just because there was that missing bag. I do want to make sure that it is distributed properly with those bags so that I do get the pressure up to that burner properly. If I need to, I'll just move things about a little bit again. Yeah, but I will say I was super happy with how the geotextile has held up. Ducks are laughing at me. Given that has been like 5 years plus now sitting out in the sun, so the fact that it had firmed up a little bit is probably not unexpected, but there was no sign of anything degrading, and that was really cool. Obviously a few of the little bags inside did burst, probably as I was needing to pull them out because it is a pretty tight fit. That was no biggie though. I just kind of positioned them in a way so that if there was any little rips, they were facing upwards. Yeah, basically just so the sand doesn't fall out. Anyway, that's the job done. Definitely looking forward to having gas back again. It's not been fun having no gas to the burner this week, especially considering my inside oven is having an issue now with the stovetop and one of the elements. And yeah, I do want to be able to use the outside one for a bit of canning tomorrow, so I do prefer to do that on the gas burner outside when we do that. Anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed following along as I did this bit of maintenance on our Saggy gas bag on the biogas. And if it's the first time you've seen the biogas, hopefully you found it a little bit interesting when I shared a little bit about how it all works as well. As always, thanks a bunch for joining. Catch you later. That is so much better now. Fantastic. But of course I am outside, so it is getting affected by the wind a little bit, and that's where one of these barbecue screens is super handy. But yeah, we definitely got that flow going again.